Hey everybody, Edo here, and this is Patchwork by Uwe Rosenberg. I'm sorry, such a famous guy, and I don't know how to pronounce his name properly. I apologize. Patchwork has been out for a little while, and it was a game I was always intrigued. It's 2 players, it's gorgeous. I felt like it was a game that I could play with Emily, but for whatever reason, I just never picked it up. Have heard great things about it. And finally, we're working on a sequel to Herbaceous, and Ben Schulman recommended this box size, and I was like, I'm going to do it. Bought the game, started playing it. Up front, this game's excellent. It's got a really awesome dynamic around, essentially all of these puzzle pieces are around the game board, and what you're doing is you're selecting one to pick up, and you can then put it onto your board. Now, there's other rules as well, but basically, you're building out on these tile boards and trying to cover as many spaces as you can. Essentially, as you move down the track on this game board, this sort of not score progress track to the end of the game, you move either the time marker on the tile you've picked up, or you can say, you know what, I'm not going to pick up any tiles and I just want to get in front of the other player. It also has that Tokaido thing where the player who's behind gets to keep going until they've caught up. So the board dynamic really works great. Within it, there's some scoring where you have these buttons, which are awesome. Too bad they're not buttons. And you score all the buttons on your board when you pass over one of the button spots, which is super useful. And you can also get these sort of individual tiles if you cross over them. So there's board position stuff going on. The tile selection's fun. This is an excellent, excellent game. There are a couple things that came up playing it that I wanted to mention because it didn't exactly meet my expectations. First, this is not the full setup. As you can see over here, there are like way more of these tiles. And looking at the box, you don't expect this to be a table hog, but basically you have to surround this board here with all of these pieces so that, like, you don't have to have a lot of space between them, but it's a lot of pieces. It's a big game. You could not play this game on, like, on an airplane on the dash trip board, right? It needs a table. And these are sizable too, but it just, I didn't, the back of the, I'm looking to see if maybe I missed it. It doesn't really show on the back. I just didn't expect it to be the kind of hog it is considering the game. Now, the circle of pieces is super cool and awesome and fun, and the way that it gets, as you use them, it reduces and reduces, and eventually it gets to this quaint size, which is neat. But from the beginning, there's this like, whoa, this is this snake around the board. Now again, doesn't take away from the fun. It's just, hey, if you're gonna pick up the game, understand it looks small, but it actually has a lot of table, takes a lot of table space. That was number one. Number two, it's pretty thinky. The puzzle connection bit is a lot of fun, especially if you're going, there's a goal to get the 7x7, first person to have a perfect square that's a 7x7. But a lot more of it is sort of on building an engine of beads and the economy, and you know, it's for something that feels and looks like it's going to be really light. It plays quick, it's easy to understand, but there's some complexity in it. Not a bad thing in any way, but something, again, it was a little bit more thinky than I would have expected. Just thinking about the audience, what it looks like, what might be fun to build and create with this thing. There's some solid math in there. The last bit, and I put this up on the internets to see what people thought of it. So at the end of the game, you score based on what are these called? The buttons you've collected and on your board. But then you subtract 2 points for each individual square not covered. And the reality is, I mean, you get better as you play, but especially at the beginning, and especially if both players are trying to get ahead of each other and move quick, you absolutely can end this game with some serious negative points. Like -20, like -15. And I think as you get better, it doesn't happen as much, but very possible. It is weird for me, I think, that to have a game that's sort of a casual target, easy, you know, 2-player game that's pulling you into negative numbers. It's just like not satisfying to feel like you've had fun and done well, or even won, but you're still like, all of your earned beads are worth nothing and you're in negative land. Like, it's just weird. It just, it doesn't give the kind of, feeling you want to have at the end of the game when you've played and otherwise had fun, to then be like, oh, I thought it was fun, I thought it was okay, and then clearly I didn't know what I was doing. Lots of people didn't have a problem with this online. A lot of people were like, negative points are awesome, it teaches you that's what's fun. Perhaps. But I think for a casual player to play something, first time get into it, and get knocked with a negative 15 is like, lame. Game's great. That's sort of lame. And there was ways you can solve it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're just going to play it again. But it was, I like read the reviews a bunch of, not the reviews, the rules a bunch of times, and I was like, it's negative 2 for every square. Yeah, it is. It's pretty clear here. That's how it is. And then I looked online, and that's how the whole thing started. But anyway, I can easily recommend this game, but do know it takes a lot of space. It's a little crunchy, but really good, and a game I think you'll play a lot. Hey everybody, Edo here, and thanks for watching Gaming with Edo. Reviews over here on this playlist, League and Insider videos over here on this one. Subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But most importantly, play some great games. Thanks.